Welcome to Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny show. I am Jose Otero, joined by Fran Mirabella.
Yeah.
And Destin Laguirre.
Hi, everybody.
And this week on the program, we are talking about Bungie's apology and sort of what that means for the digital collector's edition of Destiny: The Taken King. We are talking about the Red Bull fiasco that has taken, the controversy that has taken over this week in light of what happened with the other thing that pissed people off this week.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. And lastly, we're going to go through a quick wish list of what we want to see in The Taken King. Now that we know what it is, we've sort of done that sort of segment idea before on the show, but now that we sort of know what Taken King is, what do we expect now based on what we know, based on the knowledge we have? Cool. So let's then begin with the apology. Earlier this week, creative director on Destiny: The Taken King. But before I tell this story,
no, it's okay. I was telling Jose that we've been getting a lot of questions about Fireteam Chat T-shirts.
Fireteam tats.
Those two. You should get a Fireteam tattoo. By the way,
No,
if somebody
don't
does that
do
now
that.
and gets in trouble,
Don't
do not
do that.
say it was my fault.
Yeah.
But get one. They're awesome. Anyway, so you can go to ign-store.myshopify.com. I did not choose that URL. But check it out. You can get some Fireteam Chat T-shirts as well as other IGN shirts. And we've been getting some questions. But if you want them, they're there. So that was all. That's my limited commercial
Where's my Nintendo voice chat shirt? But we're not going to have that here. I'm not going to do it on air.
I want one just as bad as you do.
All right, so we'll make sure that happens. Okay, so definitely check that out if you want the T-shirt. It is a cool shirt. I hope I have not seen it. So next we have the apology this week, which was sort of the fallout from
epic apology.
Yes, from Luke Smith, who is the creative director on Destiny: The Taken King. Luke, also a reminder for folks, came from the press side. He used to work for OneUp.com. He was their community person before Deej and before Eric, even Osborne had that role. And so he basically,
he did an interview with Eurogamer and he looked like a jerk.
Well, that's what happened. And I want to clarify this real quick because text interviews don't always convey the tone of a conversation, right? Like we have a text interview this week we did with Reggie Fils-Aimé where it feels like I'm pressing him on Zelda and it sounds like we're being really aggressive, and we weren't. We were just asking in a cordial context.
We gave him the benefit of the doubt last week.
But if you know Luke, like you know Luke likes to joke. I know Luke. I have spoken to Luke. I've had lunch with Luke. I have had some sort of I've had interactions with him before he got into this role. And I will say that he can be a prankster, and it just seems like that came across as very insincere in that interview. So I do want to kind of put that out there for folks.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good note is if you read it, it might come across as even worse than it was, but the reality is it was his job to solve for that question, and unfortunately, he didn't do it, and that's why it blew up, because someone said, hey, you have something out there that now I can't get, and I've been a loyal player, and the only way for me to get it is to rebuy old stuff. And so the problem was, he joked and pressed and pushed their buttons, maybe even in a joking way, right? But he didn't solve for the problem.
Exactly.
And so became agitated, and, well, everybody freaked out, and then they issued an apology and offered a solution.
Here's what he said.
So here we go. So many, many years ago, I wrote for you each week in this spot, talking about his prior job. We talked about battle rifles. We talked about some stuff where we weren't going to talk about. And at some point, I did a horrible hand drawing of an upcoming map and teased you with it in a weekly update. These are all prior updates that Luke may have penned when he was working on Halo. Anyone who knows me knows I can be sarcastic. Anyone who remembers podcasts I've done know that I can be pretty blunt. And anyone who's watched me in a Vidoc knows I'm pretty unpolished. However, most of you don't know me. Reading my interview with Eurogamer and imagining it came from some random developer of a game I love, the random developer looks like an asshat. But that asshat was me, and those words rightfully anger you. I'm sorry. And then he takes us through sort of what's going to happen with the collector's edition of Destiny: The Taken King.
Well, he says, my words made it sound like Bungie doesn't care. I think that's important about their most loyal fans who do care.
Yeah, and they have been, I feel like, and then right before E3, that's become more of the message, right?
Well, let's finish it. We are listening, and we will make it right.
Okay.
Here's what we're doing about the collector's edition.
Sure. Deej took over to outline in a second.
Yeah. So then the solution to this, though, became that basically that very specific stuff you can now pay for. But the price tag...
And then we get back into the controversy.
Yeah,
but let's outline what they said.
Yeah, so the digital collector's edition, which I believe is the term for this thing, is $20. It has 3 class-specific emotes, 3 armor shaders, and 3 exotic class items.
So it's not the digital
XP.
collector's edition, Jose.
Sorry,
that's
Destiny collector's edition, Taken King collector's edition. Correct.
This is just.
But it's the piece out of that they're calling a digital.
So the
release.
Taken King is $40.
Okay. Set
the digital
context.
content for the Taken King that was in the collector's edition is $20 if you just want to buy just the 3 class-specific emotes, the 3 armor shaders, and the 3 exotic class items with XP bonuses.
Yep. So you get 9 things.
Yeah, you get 9 things for $20. Yeah.
So they are now in a cannot win situation because they have listened. And you said, I don't want to rebuy old stuff just to get these. And they said, okay, fine. I can't, I'm going to say probably what they're thinking is, well, I can't devalue the collector's edition, which you had to pay for. These things were valued as well as the books and the things that are included in there. So not to take away from the people that already bought it, there has to be some value placed on this. And however, by doing it, they're now setting a precedent, unfortunately, right, that 9 things are worth $20 and it's being scrutinized for, oh, I got to pay $20 now? Well, you don't have to rebuy content. They did solve that. I think the question now is going to be, is it worth it? And just to finish that thought, the first thing I would say is, well, wait till you know more about what these things are. There's no reason to pre-order these. You can buy them when the game comes out. Give
if you want to.
It doesn't seem significant just by reading off of a list. I will say that. But I will also say that it does bother me a bit that a lot of the ire over this feels directed more at Bungie than it is at its publisher for this game, which is Activision.
That's true.
That's
a good
point.
I do
think that people need to step back from just throwing that full-on assault on we don't want this or this costs too much just at Bungie, because at the end of the day, I think Bungie only controls creative on that game. Bungie does not control what these things cost, at least in my opinion. And if I'm wrong and you work at Bungie, feel free to write in and tell me that.
I think, you were right that Activision has a precedent for, offering this type of stuff and Call of Duty and other places. But I don't know. I see where you're going. Bungie has a pretty good reputation. It listens to its fans. It's one of the few companies that's going to apologize like that. And I was saying that before. They do listen. They have. But they are in a sticky situation. I personally put it more on the fact that they have created a collector's edition. How do you get out of that without pissing everybody off that bought your collector's edition?
Yeah.
They had to backpedal, right? This was not a plan, and this was the best they could come up with. Really, what would you do? I'm just curious. Would you, if you're, part of the business, are you going to say, well, it's $8.99, and then your collector's edition people are coming in and saying, but I paid, an extra $40 over this.
The collector's edition's $80, and you get a bunch of physical things. That's where the extra value is.
Is it?
These are digital items.
Play devil's advocate.
It's not $20. It's $12 worth of value.
Okay, but explain that to me. How do you value these other items versus the other
If you
things?
go compare it to other DLC products that offer similar things, and we'll get more into that into the next section, other companies that are releasing this stuff for nothing.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous that you're charging $20 for these items. And we're getting into the microtransaction business model now, and that's not what we wanted for Destiny. That's like nightmare scenario.
It's funny because it's not a microtransaction. I wish I could just buy the emotes.
How is that not a microtransaction?
Because it's $20.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying it's a major
it's a macro transaction.
Yeah, I think to more to your point, I think maybe the approach that could have been taken, and folks may not agree with me on this, but I'm going to put this out there, is to
I hate you, whatever you're going to say.
You can pre-hate, bro. You can basically don't bundle this stuff. Just separate it. Let people decide what they want to buy, because maybe I only have a hunter and I don't want the 2 other class specific emotes. I don't want the other armor shaders. Let me be able to not only judge that value, but then pick piecemeal what I want.
I mean, but this is the whole crux of the problem. They didn't plan microtransactions, I don't think. I guarantee you they've discussed them, but now they're in a situation, they got 9 things. They got a $40 differential between the digital edition without all the extras in the old games and this, and somehow they had to meet in the middle. And I really think they were like, look, $20, if people want them, they can buy them. We're not forcing you to buy them, but unfortunately the message they're sending is $20 divided by 9, value of each of those things is roughly this, and so you're thinking I would never buy.
Yeah, but Destiny is also a game that I feel like people do overlook what you're paying for and what you're getting in some cases. Where Destiny is a shooter with MMO-like ideas that you are not paying a monthly fee to play.
Yeah, it's persistent.
And I'm not saying that justifies the pricing model they're going for.
Yeah.
But I do think it does take a minute for you to step back and say, well, if this is not following that model that justifies why there's a monthly cost because you're getting new content at a regular schedule, and then you look at the way this game is trying to do that, and it's very different. I don't think this was an easy decision for anyone involved, and so when I do see the vitriol on some of it, I can understand the response, but I also feel like some of it's misdirected. Like I do think Activision does take some of the blame on this, and I don't see enough of that getting spread around.
They both do, though.
But my point is,
I think they both do. But I feel like right now, for a lot of people,
everybody's
it's just
saying Bungie.
This is Bungie's fault, and
you
I
know
don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
But I would also say, like, who's right here is it to say that it is not worth $20? Now, I'm not saying it is.
I don't think I don't know.
There's ways to evaluate it.
Yeah.
But how do you place value on certain things in microtransactions? You know, people will buy a stupid skin on something for 99 cents, and they will buy like 40 of them, and that's $40. You know what I mean? But
sure,
my point is,
let me buy shaders. You should have established that as an optional way to pay for your game when you launched it.
so that was what I was about to say. The biggest mistake that Activision and Bungie have made is they did not really plan for this, and now their solution is caught between a rock and a hard place. And like I said, it's being scrutinized, and they can't win. So all I would say,
They are in a
though, is
no-win.
we also, what we don't know is if maybe those class items are awesome, and we're like, you should totally buy them because it does this or that. I don't think it's going to.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's wait and see a little bit, too. But I think the real conversation that we should take forward after this, maybe another time, is should it have microtransactions? That is a super slippery slope.
We've had that conversation on the
have,
show,
but
right?
maybe it's time to reevaluate.
Yeah, maybe it's time to revisit
Well, it shows you how do you do it? How do you value it?
Another
I would say, sorry, just one last thing real quick. As I would say that maybe looking at the we haven't yet, and I'm going to let you steer on that. But I do want to say that maybe the approach they're taking on these collector's editions needs to be reevaluated. Where like, if the hardcore Destiny fan is a fan who wants these physical goods, why isn't there an expansion product that has that tied to it? Why are you putting that to? So, like, I don't think the person who walked away from Destiny cares about a physical good about Destiny that's going to reel them back in. Like, I'm just not convinced about that at all right now.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest learning lesson, and the Vault has taught us this too. Hardcore fans, your most loyal, do not want to not have access to things or have to get rid of things.
Yeah.
So meaning don't put stuff out there as simple as an emote or shader that I just cannot get at any point in time. You have to have a solution for that, whether it's day one or not. At some point, exactly.
Not with my wallet, like with through in-game progress.
Don't tell me that I missed a window and I will never get the blacksmith shader again, because as a hardcore fan, I'm going to be super upset. And I think that's really what they need to take away from this. It's okay to do this, but you got to offer me a solution.
So let's take a positive turn here. So part of year 2.
Well, Deej said,
is this a positive thing?
Sort of. Deej said, okay, yeah, that's the collector's edition, but people who've been there since day one, don't worry, you're going to get something better. And then this is what they defined as better.
But this isn't everything they have.
No, they haven't outlined everything
what we're
yet.
discussing right now is the items that they've shown us for VIPs. VIPs are people that have been playing since year 1 and hit level 30. And
which you can do by August 31st, by the way, so you still can be that year.
Thank you for that. That's important context.
Yeah, and that includes an emblem, shader, sparrow, and gear, maybe. It looks like new gear. And
But they haven't really detailed.
The problem was he said it would be better, and that's not better than 3 class-specific emotes, 3 armor shaders, and 3 exotic class items. They're all just cosmetic.
Yeah, but I think we need to wait and see the full outline of
I wouldn't be surprised if these 3 specific emotes, 3 armor shaders, and the exotic class items, well, maybe not so much those, but these 6 are absolutely cosmetic. Like I just
the class. So I already know the exotic items. They're going to have a direct impact on your character's progression. They have like stuff that you can unlock.
Okay.
So it's not just cosmetic for because it's like
at least for that
an arm emblem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the emotes, I mean, they're kind of cosmetic. It's a custom animation for each of the classes that nobody else will have. You know, so that's really important.
I mean, at the end of the day,
armor shaders, I don't know. That's definitely cosmetic.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think the message here is, at least for if you don't think the value is there for this package of 6 goods that you just don't think are worth $20, don't buy it. Yep. Send that message. Yeah. That's your job.
There's already a petition out there, and like I did a whole rant about stop voting with your wallet.
What's the petition about? This one you're referring to?
Well, on Reddit, people are just like, don't buy it. If you're really unhappy with how they did this, just don't spend your money. That's how you have to vote.
Your
but that's
power
the point.
As a consumer.
Again, I agree there's a discussion to be had about the value of those things
I
as
agree
we
with you
learn
on that.
more about those things. But don't, I will say, I get a little upset now that they have solved that you're still, I see a lot of people they immediately tapped into, I hate all of this, it's stupid. and you don't have to buy any of this.
Yeah.
Just
really
use some rational decision making, and at the end of the day, if you don't buy it, that sends a message.
Yeah, and by the way, if you've been playing Destiny, history tells you that you might be pretty excited to have those things in the first couple of weeks, and then you're going to get all these really cool new Taken King things that you will never use them again. Yeah. So honestly, the year one stuff you may find will be that special shader, that emblem will be stuff that's pretty rare to those who have taken the time to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
taken the time.
I know.
Yeah.
We're way over on that segment.
Right,
we got to move.
We are way over.
We got to move.
So
Continuing
let's move over to
the controversy rabbit hole continues.
Yeah.